March 2026, China's military demonstrated a drone swarm, 96 aircraft, coordinated in real time by a single operator, striking a target no human ever selected. But the drones were never the real story. China is facing a problem no defense budget can outspend, birth rates at the lowest in its recorded history, a workforce projected to shrink by nearly a third before 2050, and a military deadline, 2027. To be ready for a conflict over Taiwan that, fought the conventional way, could demand hundreds of thousands of troops. So China is quietly changing what fighting means. The strategic bet they've made isn't the one most people assume. Not better weapons for soldiers, fewer soldiers, and more machines. This is the engineering behind the Atlas swarm that struck on its own. The robot Wolves that rehearsed an amphibious landing, China's first humanoid robot training base in Shanghai, and the one piece of infrastructure tying them together that changes the equation entirely. 3 layers: air, ground, and the close fight. And a deadline that's closer than it looks. Start with one number: 7.92 million. That's how many babies were born in China in 2025, down 17% in a single year. It's the 4th year running that the population has shrunk, and China is now one of the fastest aging societies on Earth. Here's why that matters for warfare, though not the way the headlines suggest. The People's Liberation Army recruits from young men aged 18 to 24. Rand Corporation projects China's labor force will contract 28% by 2050. And unlike the United States, which can top up its recruiting pool through immigration, China's demographics are a closed system. You cannot immigrate your way out of a fertility rate near 1, less than half of replacement. Now the honest caveat, because it matters: the soldiers China would field in 2027 are already born. The demographic cliff bites in the 2040s and 50s, not next year. And Rand is clear, the near-term hit to PLA size is minimal. So this was never about running out of recruits by the deadline. It's about something a one-child society fears far more than numbers: casualties. When most families have a single child, every coffin that comes home is a political earthquake. The cheapest way to fight a war you cannot afford to lose people in is to send machines first. That's the bet. If you can't spare the people, you change what fighting means. So what does a military do when it's short on people it cannot afford to lose? Phase 1. Hand the most dangerous jobs to things that aren't alive. On the 25th of March 2026, Chinese state television aired the first full demonstration of the Atlas drone swarm system. Before you file this under state media theater, look at the numbers. 1 command vehicle, 1 operator, 96 drones. Each launch vehicle, called Swarm 2, ripples out 48 fixed-wing drones, 1 every 3 seconds. Here's the engineering problem that makes this genuinely hard. Coordinating 100 aircraft in real time isn't a communications challenge. It's a decision-making one. No human can issue 100 commands fast enough. So Atlas doesn't ask. Each drone runs its own onboard AI for flight, collision avoidance, and target tracking. The operator sets the objective, the swarm works out how, lose a drone, and the rest redistribute the task. No single point of control means no single point of failure. And this is the part that should stop you. In the demonstration, the swarm flew reconnaissance over 3 near-identical targets, identified the right one itself, and struck it, with no human selecting that target. American doctrine, including the Pentagon's replicator program, still keeps a person in the loop for the decision to kill. In the footage China chose to broadcast, the machine decided. But drones can't hold ground. For that, you need something that walks. At the September 2025 V-Day parade through Tiananmen Square, China's largest in a decade, quadrupedal robots rolled between the missile carriers. Robot dogs, and what state media calls robot wolves, carrying sensors, hauling supplies, built to go where soldiers take casualties. And in separate exercises, state TV has shown these wolfpacks rehearsing an amphibious beach assault as the first wave. Many of them trace back to firms like Unitree, which insists it's a civilian company and that any weapons were bolted on by third parties. That's technically true, and beside the point. As a War on the Rocks investigation laid out this spring, China runs a system called military-civil fusion. Commercial firms build the platforms, and the state acquires them through channels the companies don't control. The parade wasn't a prototype show. It was a statement of industrial capacity. Then there's the piece that ties it all together. Back in 2024, a PLA engineering unit, working with China Mobile, published a military-grade mobile 5G station, one that can keep up to 10,000 robots and drones connected inside a 3-kilometer bubble, hardened against jamming. The dogs aren't the weapon. The network that lets 10,000 of them sense and move as one, that's the weapon. Swarms own the air. Wolfpacks take the ground. But some missions still need two hands, a doorway, and a body shaped like ours, clearing a building, working a rifle, climbing stairs under load. Which brings us to humanoids. In January 2025, China opened its first dedicated humanoid robot training base, the Kailin Ground in Shanghai's Pudong district. It can train more than 100 humanoids at once, aiming for 1,000 by 2027. And I'll be straight with you. Kailin is an industrial facility. The robots there learn welding, assembly, inspections, not soldiering. So why does it belong in this story? Because of that fusion system again. A nation that can mass-produce humanoids for factories owns the production line that could turn out something else. And China is building the largest such line on Earth. There's an American mirror image, and it's revealing. A San Francisco startup called Foundation is building the Phantom, a 5'9" humanoid aimed explicitly at the military, with a stated goal of 50,000 units by the end of 2027. But notice the asymmetry. America's effort is a venture-funded startup. China's is a state-directed industrial mobilization where robotics firms, AI labs, and the PLA all pull in one direction. Connect it up. Atlas owns the sky. The Wolfpacks own the ground. Humanoids, in time, take the close fight. All stitched together by that network, all run by a fraction of the people a conventional force would need. This isn't a drone program or a robotics program. It's a doctrine the PLA calls intelligentized warfare, folding AI, autonomy, and data into every layer of how it fights. If you're wondering whether the US has an answer to any of this, that's a separate video. Short version, the Pentagon's Replicator initiative aimed to field thousands of autonomous systems by 2025, and by most accounts delivered hundreds. Whether it's keeping pace is a question worth asking. Subscribe and hit the bell. We'll continue to cover this type of topics. Which returns us to 2027. The Pentagon's December 2025 report says that's the year the PLA is meant to be capable of a strategic decisive victory over Taiwan. And be precise here, that's a readiness benchmark, not a confirmed invasion date, and serious analysts genuinely argue over what it means. But here's the uncomfortable logic. For decades, the Taiwan debate has turned on amphibious lift, air superiority, the sheer number of troops needed to cross the strait. Every one of those arguments assumes a human invasion force. Atlas, the Wolfpacks rehearsing that beach landing, the humanoids in training. Together, they suggest the first wave may not be human at all. And an autonomous force answers every problem a shrinking society creates. Machines don't need recruiting. They have no parents to grieve them. They don't eat, sleep, or break. Their numbers scale with factory output, not birth rates. China's demographic decline is real, and it's accelerating. 2025 was the lowest on record, and 2026 will likely be lower. The robots don't fix that. They root around it. The robot army was never science fiction. It's an engineering answer to a maths problem the leadership can already see coming. And by 2027, the bet is that it won't need to be optional. Remember to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until the next one, over and out.